Welcome to Arts in the City. I'm Tinabeth Pina. We're here in Staten Island at the Alice Austen House. Now, Alice Austen was one of the most prolific female photographers of the 20th century. And this historic landmark, which was once Alice's home, is now a museum dedicated to her life and work, and is open to the public to enjoy. Right now, we're going to take you back to last month when Magalie Laguerre-Wilkinson met with the Jazz House Kids of Montclair, New Jersey. She got to know its big band as they prepared for jazz at Lincoln Center's Essentially Ellington Jazz Festival and Competition. Let's take a look.
Things to Come is one of 3 songs that the Jazz House Kids are practicing in anticipation of the Essentially Ellington competition, an annual festival sponsored by Jazz at Lincoln Center. Spearheaded by Wynton Marsalis, this 3-day event invites 15 of the best high school jazz big bands from around the country to Lincoln Center to participate in workshops and jam sessions with the members of the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra. Each of the 15 bands performs the songs they have been working tirelessly on in front of a panel of judges that then narrow it down to 3 finalists. Those 3 bands then get to perform on stage at Lincoln Center in front of a live audience to decide who will be chosen as the best high school jazz big band in the country.
I think the pillars of Jazz House Kids are music, mentoring, education, and apprenticeship.
Melissa Walker is the president and founder of Jazz House Kids, a community-oriented music center based in Montclair, New Jersey that provides jazz education and instruction to students in grades K through 12. The man leading the charge at Jazz House Kids is Julius Tolentino, a saxophonist who trained under jazz legend Jackie McLean.
It's exciting because it's I told them, forget about first, second, and third. Your goal is to shock the world. Every time you step to that stage, it's okay to be great, but you want to go up there and shock the world. So that's what they're going to do.
They're going to shock.
You're going to shock people.
Now let's see what went on in the festival and how the Jazz House Kids did. Magalie Laguerre-Wilkinson reports.
Where you at? House of Swing! Where you at? House of Swing!
It's here, inside Jazz at Lincoln Center, affectionately coined the House of Swing, where the 19th annual Essentially Ellington Festival was held. Out of almost 100 high school jazz big bands from all parts of the country, some as far away as Tucson and Seattle, only 15 received the invitation to perform in front of an esteemed panel of judges in New York. Packed with jam sessions, seminars, and live performances that determine the top 3 bands, this 3-day celebration of jazz music creates a buzz and energy not seen at any other time.
It's the highlight of our year, and we've produced so many young musicians who could play, and even the ones who don't go into music, this experience has, so many say that the experience has been transformative for them.
In 1987, Wynton Marsalis co-founded an organization that went on to become Jazz at Lincoln Center. He built it with the dream that it would be known as the Mecca of the jazz community. But he didn't just want it to be a concert hall. His vision involved providing jazz education for all.
We are a nonprofit arts organization, and we're dedicated to the art of jazz. And we put a lot of faith and stock in it, and we believe in it, and we're going to work, we're going to kill ourselves on it because it's what we're doing. We tend to, Jazz Lincoln Center, our philosophy is more, let's get these kids playing, let's put some books out, let's get some recordings out, let's set up this micro concert network platform and let people all over the world stream our concerts and understand what we're doing. Let's get our library in shape and get these scores out so people can play this music and understand it, and let's get general education and get all of our 12 education programs up and running so people can interface with it and get this information, and those who want it can have access to it.
It may seem like an impossible goal, but one can't help understand what he's striving for when walking through these historic hallways. So why Ellington?
He's our Bach. So he dealt with American fundamentals on the most profound level. He has the largest body of music, the greatest breadth, everything from fiddle tunes to early kind of ragtime-based pieces to very sophisticated pieces influenced by different types of music around the world to American popular songs like Sophisticated Lady. His career covers 50 years of uninterrupted development. So he's a great basis, and he's the foundation of our institution. Like, if we didn't have his music, we probably would not have been able to get Jazz at Lincoln Center off the ground, because his music is profound enough, it has the gravitas, and it's well written enough for us to sustain an arts presence and to build an orchestra around it.
And now those Jazz House kids. Looking to improve on last year's second-place performance, Julius Tolentino was hard at work keeping his students focused.
Everybody have a seat. Listen, we're going to warm up. Just being here, right, in this room, and just after yesterday and the excitement and everything, it's a good rehearsal for us. So this is really our last rehearsal. And with the energy, there's going to be maybe some nerves now, which is good for us to kind of, you know, kind of get more in the mindset of what's going to happen on stage.
Last year, Jazz House kids came in second place, which is great.
Yeah, it was a great start.
But this year, what do you think?
I mean, we're going to try to play the best we can, and I think if we do, then maybe the results will speak for themselves. We're pretty confident too. I mean, we just had a rehearsal, and everything's really tight, and I'm really looking forward to getting up there and showing everyone what we can do.
With the second full day of the festival concluded and 7 of the 15 bands having performed, the time had come for the Jazz House kids to shock the music world.
It went pretty well. I mean, it's never going to be perfect. You have nerves, but we did our best.
I feel pretty good about it, just because the level of the solos were so high, and so many of them, that made the band special and different than a lot of the other bands.
And now the announcement of the final 3.
Now here are the bands in no particular order. Jazz House Kids, Tucson Jazz Institute, Dillard Center for the Arts.
Those bands then went on to perform in a concert with the members of the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra. And then the moment they'd all been waiting for.
We'd like to ask all of our band directors to join us on stage for the rest of the award ceremony. Please come forward. Third place, a trophy, and a $1,000 award goes to Dillard Center for the Arts. Second place, a trophy and a $2,500 award goes to Jazz House Kids.
For the second year in a row, Julius and the Jazz House Kids placed second behind the same winners as last year, the Tucson Jazz Institute. While visibly disappointed, they could not have been prouder of what they'd worked for and accomplished. They weren't the only ones.
All the kids, the band directors, this is a lot of people are part of this.
Collaboration.
The communities, the principals, the parents, everybody is a part of it. And yeah, I feel proud to be a part of it. I feel great that it's Duke's music.
From Ellington and jazz to one young woman who's realizing her dream to dance for Martha Graham. Ernabel Demillo has her story.
Shaan Shia's passion is dance. To watch her stretch and prepare to dance, it's hard to see how much she has sacrificed to make her dream come true, to pursue her love of not just dance, but that of modern dance. You can call her the accidental dancer. In China, where youngsters' futures are determined at a very early age, Shaan discovered dance when she was already considered older. She was 11.
When I was 10 or 11, or going to go to a junior high school, my mom asked me, "Do you want to dance?" I said, "Yeah." And my mom sent me to the audition to the dance school, and I got in.
Soon, she was accepted into one of China's most prestigious dance companies, dancing classic ballet and Chinese dance, performing for heads of state and presidents. But despite all the success, Shaan said something was missing in her life.
So at the time when I turned 20, I was a little confused and lost in the same system I've been doing for a long time. So I was looking for something for myself, and at that time I found modern dance.
She began researching modern dance, learning its history and creative art form.
I was looking for something about myself, like how I present myself on stage. Gram class is not only physicality, but also with your emotional expression. So in class, I was amazed to see all the students move with their heart, and it's so big.
She discovered Martha Graham when the company came to perform in China for the first time. It would turn out to be a life-changing moment. After watching the troupe dance, Shaan made the big decision to leave China and audition for the school. She started as a beginner dancer and caught the eye of the company's artistic director.
She's got a remarkable technique, great flexibility, and such a presence, such an aura. She also has a great strength and power. So her presence and her physicality were very noticeable at the very beginning.
Shaan quickly moved up the ranks, joining the company, and is now a soloist. We caught up with Shaan at the Martha Graham studio, where we watched her rehearse The Chosen One from The Rite of Spring.
I think performing arts in China is still on entertainment level. So it's more for people go to watch the show more for fun. Modern dance changed the expression of dance. Find yourself, and we as artists to express ourselves rather than have a very big form.
Indeed, Martha Graham revolutionized modern dance. In 1926, she began the first integrated dance company in America. 18 years later, she recruited Asian American dancer Yuriko Kikuchi, who created new movements and techniques which dancers today emulate. For Shaan, moving to New York was a big sacrifice. Her family and friends thought she was crazy to leave behind a successful career in China. But maybe she was destined to dance in New York City, an island surrounded by two rivers.
What does your name mean in Mandarin?
Xiao means white and bright, and Chuan means river. So Xiao Chuan is like white, bright river.
The girl whose name means bright, wide river hopes one day to expand modern dance in China.
I really wish people now could bring more modern dance to China and to let just people know.
Shaan may be destined to do just that.
Can you imagine a one-man comedy show without one word spoken? Well, that's how Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin used to do it, and now Mark Gindick has gotten in on the act with his show, Wingman.
Sometimes hear people say everything old is new again. That's more than true for performer Mark Gindick, who's inspired by the work of Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton.
I grew up on Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton. Those are the movies that I watched as a kid. And then I went to clown college. I know it's kind of crazy, it existed. And learned, technique and skills and craft of this art form that's been passed down from generation to generation. So those are the tools that are in my toolbox. And I think what's really interesting about theater and physical comedy and clowning in particular, that it grows. It's alive. Pop culture and pop references are in my shows, just like Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton were talking about what's happening in their generations. And I think that's why this art form is so alive even now.
He transforms their style of humor and social commentary and applies it to today's world of social media, and never speaks a word.
I feel like social media, particularly like Facebook, for example, is its own theater Do you know what I mean? Where we're our own directors, where we can put on our profile of what we're doing, who we are, what we like, and we can tell the world and other people what our story is. So then that's when I was like, well, I'm in theater and I really like theater, and here's this social media, its own theater. How can we put those two theaters together?
The concept blossomed when Mark realized he could use social media as his wingman to help his character find love in a fast-paced world where likes, tweets, and texts often substitute for real interpersonal communication.
Everything revolves around love and relationships, if you really think about it. I mean, just the way we're sitting here, we have a relationship going on right now.
We do.
You don't feel it?
I do a little.
You know, whether the relationship is love or the relationship is friendship or the relationship is I don't know you, you know, we're getting to know each other right now, everything revolves around relationship. And social media is just another way to relate to people. And I think that's why this show is so powerful.
The large social media video screen on stage is the show's co-star and is interactive with both the performer and the audience.
We take down the fourth wall in theater and we've put up a fifth wall. So there is audience interaction where I'm actually bringing them up on stage, and then there's also audience interaction where we tell them to take their phones out at this moment so they can move the show forward by posting something, for example, on the wall. We have a Twitter feed, we have an Instagram feed. Through hashtags during the show, before the show, after the show, you can be part of the show itself, part of the conversation of the show, and it's projected live on the screen at the same time.
How does that affect your show? Because I would imagine every time you do it, it's slightly a little different.
For me, that's the really exciting part of the show, where anything can happen, you know? The show does have a narrative. There is a beginning, middle, and end. But within these beginning, middle, and ends, there's kind of room for more meat and potatoes to be put on the plate.
For the past 3 years, Mark's been working on the show, going through a repertoire of routines he cultivated as a physical comedian and professional circus and stage clown. When the routines worked, along with direct references from his personal life, Wingman was born.
I kind of gave myself the most impossible mission ever. I wanted to make a one-man show with no words and tell a story. I mean, it sounds impossible just saying it right now. But I think we've done a really good job. Sometimes when you build something, you don't really know what it is until it comes to life. And you go, oh my God, I didn't actually see it that way, but this makes much more sense now that it's come to life.
I'm Tinabeth Pina for Arts in the City.
If you're looking for that perfect beach read or something to take on vacation with you, Magalie Laguerre-Wilkinson has some ideas.
What we think one of the big thrillers of the summer is going to be is Joe Nesbo's The Sun. He is an international best-selling author. He's a Norwegian writer, and in The Sun, it is actually his first standalone novel. It follows the story of an inmate who escapes a corrupt prison system and begins to hunt down all of those who have committed crimes against him. So it's a fast-paced, intense read from sort of this master in crime writing. One of the biggest romance novels this summer is the latest from Emily Giffin called The One and Only. She is a best-selling author, and in this book she looks at love and loyalty in a small Texas town. She's written numerous other pieces of fiction, and in true Emily Giffin fashion, she looks at love, family, and following your heart. One book that Barnes & Noble is recommending this summer is A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. This is an insightful story about 16-year-old Now, who is a witty and contemplative girl living in Japan, her Zen Buddhist grandmother, and a distant writer who discovers Nao's diary. In addition to just discovering this diary, she also learns the power of our stories in connecting us to everyone around us. It's a delightful read. It's funny, it's sad, but it really brings to the surface both humor and human nature. So something else we have been recommending is B.J. Novak's debut collection of short stories called One More Thing, Stories and Other Stories. And this is a hilarious selection of his writing. He's an Emmy-nominated writer. Most of us know him from The Office. And here he just puts together some wacky and wonderful tales. What's nice about the short story collection is you can kind of dive in and choose the stories that you have time for or you're interested in reading. The biography for the summer is the latest from the lovely Diane Keaton called Let's Just Say It Wasn't Pretty. This is a great read. It's fun, it's fast, it's smart. She offers some humorous wisdom and fierce honesty around the subjects of aging and beauty and what it means to really be yourself and live from that space. One of the biggest book-to-screen adaptations this summer is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This is a YA novel that actually appeals to both adults and teenagers. It tells the story of two teenagers who meet each other sort of exactly when they're needed. They're both sick, and sort of the love and life that they create together. It is a heartbreaking and poignant read, and I'd recommend bringing your box of tissues as well. And after reading the book, you'll definitely want to see the movie, which is out now.
Other great summer reads Barnes & Noble recommends are The Closer by Mariano Rivera for the sports lover. And for those history buffs, Michael Korda's Clouds of Glory, the life and legend of Robert E. Lee.
There are so many kinds of kitchens in New York, thousands of them. And our Barry Mitchell was surprised to find out what one kitchen was serving up.
Can I help you?
Yes, I need a dozen cans of Alpo, 2 boxes of Milk-Bone dog biscuit, and a big sack of kibble.
Right. Well, pal, I don't know what to tell you. You came to the wrong place.
Isn't this the puppy kitchen?
No, it's the puppy kitchen. Puppy kitchen?
Hi, I'm Emily DeCola, and here at the Puppet Kitchen, we design and perform and build and direct puppets. We work with all kinds of people and projects, theater and opera, television.
And a fair amount of advertising work. This is a piece that we just completed for H&M where they needed, amongst other things, an 11-foot version of their logo made entirely out of H&M t-shirts and sweatshirts.
This viral video, which is about textile recycling, about the life of the object, is all puppetry. It's all us manipulating objects and bringing them to life.
It took about 20 puppeteers to make them move, and it took about 8 people to make this logo come to life.
Well, it's called the Puppet Kitchen because this space is actually a former industrial kitchen. In fact, when we moved in, the Lower East Side Girls Club was baking cookies in here. Emily, Michael, and myself found each other in the New York puppetry art scene, and we started working in this space as independent artists, and we were working here for a couple of years before we decided to join forces and create the Puppet Kitchen.
I'm working. I'm really working hard.
I mean, puppets are great for cheap laughs.
Melvin, school is so important. You have to get ready for a good career. Oh, I already know what I want to be when I grow up. What's that? Well, teacher says I'm going to be an astronaut. Really? Teacher says you're going to be an astronaut? Kind of. She says I'm taking up space. It's jokes like this that have kept me out of the big time for years.
I was a pre-med student in university and thinking a lot about how bodies worked and moved because I've always been interested in performing arts, dance and theater and movement. So when I was working on a pre-med degree, thinking about how the way that human bodies functioned led naturally for me to thinking about the way that other bodies could function and how I could make them.
All right, Justin, time for bed.
Come on, Justin, get in bed. Justin.
Because Justin is a puppet, the audience is already helping to create that character along with the puppeteers.
Justin, it's way past your bedtime. You have to get in bed. No.
When Justin says no, it's a laugh of recognition that it's just like that kid that I know, or it's just like I used to say when I was a kid.
I can't sleep because I've had too much sugar.
This is Broadway. He's the stud of the dog run. We designed and built him for Lee Brewer's La Divina Caricatura over at La Mama this past winter. Broadway the Dog is my riff on a Japanese style of puppetry that uses more than one puppeteer to make really specific movement. That's called bunraku. Of course, what we're doing is bunraku style puppetry.
You want to take a selfie with the Pope?
Yes.
Yeah. You got a phone?
No.
Neither do I.
I'd love to introduce you to two folks who are interning with us at the Puppet Kitchen, Efeme and Dorothy. Dorothy's working on a project of her own, which is something that all our interns do.
So I am designing a talking cherry pie that's Julia Child-esque, who's a little bit more of a lush. And I'm just doing the blueprint right now to later fabricate the puppet for a cooking show.
We bring life to inanimate objects by moving them around. And that can be characters or landscape or anything in between. Really anything is possible. I think that's what we like the most.
If you'd like to visit the Puppet Kitchen, what do we do?
Come on down to the East Village. We got puppet making workshops for kids and adults.
And to find out more information about those workshops,
puppetkitchen.com!
And this is Barry Mitchell for Arts in the City.
Barry, we gotta get you a new writer. I don't get it.
That's our show for today. For more information on any of our stories, just log on to our website at CUNY.tv. I'm Tinabeth Pina for Arts in the City.